So we are going to jump right into things with a Streets of Rage 4 run from DanTheVP, and I will pass it over to you, Dan.
What's going on, everybody? Thanks for coming out to the very start. I'm just going to jump on in because there will be plenty of time to talk about this run. And if we're ready, time will start in 3, 2, 1, go. Time is actually going to be in-game time for this run, but I track splits personally for it, and I just start at the very beginning. This is Streets of Rage 4, and we're playing with, of course, a Streets of Rage 2 character, because why would you play with new characters in a new game? This is on easy, and we're playing as Max, so basically the same character if you're familiar with him from Streets of Rage 2. And they just, there's a bunch of unlockable characters. And Max is a lot of fun to play on easy. This game has a lot of similar mechanics to other beat-em-ups. We've got special abilities that consume health, and then doing damage with normal abilities recoups that health. And then if you take damage like that, I lose all of that health. So playing on easy, one of the things we can do is use lots and lots of special abilities because they consume less health. And we start off with more lives, so if I do die here, which I will, sometimes on purpose, you can still keep the run alive. This is on arcade mode, so it's, you die, you run out of lives, you're done. Which is another reason why I play this game on easy. Max has a lot of things that you're going to see throughout the whole run. Every time you see Max rolling, that's his forward special ability. Consumes a little bit of health and also recoups some if you're doing damage. Sometimes you'll see the health just kind of stay neutral. That'll be because I basically did more damage than I would have consumed by using a special. And one of the important parts about Max is his forward special and his neutral special, which is, we'll see right here. They have iframes through the entire animation. So I can chain forward special and neutral special, or I think the game calls it a defensive special. I can chain those together and have iframes throughout, so most things won't do damage. Which makes this run very unique. We'll get to really bully some bosses. So if you played this game and you kind of, you get to the commissioner and he's, really annoying, you just want to punish him. So play on Max for a little bit. You can just spin to win in his face. It'll make you feel good. It makes me feel good. I think those enemies, the Dylans and the Francises and the guys with their hands in their pockets, are the most hated enemy in the game, solely because they're just, it's kind of annoying just to have somebody running up on you in a fight. They don't even take their hands out of their pockets. So, like I said, we're going to bully these bosses. It's a Max's special ability right there, which always throws opposite of the direction that you approach from. We can pin bosses in the wall. And that's the end of stage 1. We'll get a level time at the end of this. 4 minutes is decent. But like I said at the beginning, the runs of this are ranked by in-game time. So if you've got this on, PlayStation or Switch or Xbox or your Ouya, you can basically put up a competitive time on any system because all of the load times don't matter. Level 2 is gonna... Most beat 'em ups, when it comes to speed running, kind of focused around, you know, whatever RNG manipulation you can do, however you can, you know, manipulate the enemies and the way they move. But in this level particularly, and throughout the rest of the game, there's a lot of spawn triggers, and depending on what you kill is going to give you enemies first. So like if I take out those 2 guys, I get the next 2 guys. And so just kind of little optimizations with when, how, and why you kill certain enemies. Helps you go a little bit faster. Try not to run out of health. That's the other thing about the special abilities. If you run out of health, you can't kill yourself, but you can put yourself in a position that you can't use those special abilities anymore. And one reason why Max is fast is because he has this. One of his special abilities is also movement based. Gonna get a chance to see another one of the best enemies in the game, the Taser Cop. Barney. Everybody loves Barney. Definitely no salt has ever been thrown at Barney. You know, just farm these cops down here first. Inevitably, that Galcia or this BT or this Donovan will get stuck. I just prefer kind of taking them out last. And avoid these guys and go ahead and trigger the loading zone for the boss. So the Commissioner was just kind of nerfed. There was just a pretty big patch release for this game, which any mistakes I make are totally because they changed a bunch of stuff that I'm not used to. That is my excuse for this event. But they got rid of a bunch of his armor, which is really nice casually. Not so great for easy runs, because a lot of what I'm going to rely on is some of the harder enemies having armor, because then they're not going to get knocked down or knocked back as I do damage to them. So I can rack up a bunch of damage real quick. Made quick work of the Commissioner though. They did a really good job of all the different environments in this game. Somehow we're on a cargo ship now. I'm sure it makes sense within the lore. And what probably comes as no surprise if you're a fan of the Streets of Rage franchise is the music is incredible. It's, there is a retro soundtrack included with this game that's kind of like a greatest hits of Streets of Rage 1 through 3. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, man, I'm never going to use anything other than the retro soundtrack. But the modern soundtrack is just like one big earworm that it's hard to ever switch. Try to use the barrel here, and we didn't. I think we're going to take a strategic death here so I can refill my health bar. Yeah. So the normal run, which is like the default difficulty, starts out with 5 lives. And it can get kind of tight speedrunning. Every 50,000 points, you're going to get an extra life. And a lot of your points are based on your combos. So as you get hit more and as you get further in the game, you get less combos, less points, less one-ups. Alright. Now hopefully Nora is going to behave. We've got a really, really quick strat with Max if she behaves. Try this. For some reason, there's a wall of spikes here. I'll let your imagination kind of make a determination of what that's used for, but we can bounce Nora off of it. And get some out of this world damage. I guess the world map like shows you why we went to a cargo ship. I guess now we're like on the other side of whatever fake city is emulating New York City. We're gonna start seeing holes in this level we can pitch enemies into. And we can also get knocked into, which is very... not what we want to see. Max flying into a hole. That Donovan with the home run bat will straight up yeet you off of this pier if you're not careful. We're gonna try to conserve a baseball bat here. Yeah. I'm gonna try a strat for the next screen. And use that baseball bat to knock some guys over during the screen transition. And that's what it looks like when you get knocked into a hole. Alright. So if I throw and roll, there we go. This group of enemies specifically will very easily ruin your day. Those taser cops are ruthless. A little low on health here. But there's a full turkey. Yeah, the taser cops will run right up on you. You can catch them with normal attacks, but Max's kind of base jabs are slow, and he has kind of a small hitbox on him. It's a lot safer to be able to use special attacks. And I mean, his iframes really are just broken. There are very few other characters that have like 0 frames of vulnerability going between different attacks. Alright, see if we can get this with no reinforcements. Well, we got one backup. So we're gonna get some rockets shot at us, and the rockets are unavoidable damage, unfortunately. So, yeah. We did get through. Hopefully we can take her out. Yeah. The last backup is 3 rockets back to back. We end up in a sewer somehow. Again, I'm sure it makes sense with the story of this game. I'm going to try to strategically use all of this goo. It's going to drain the health of the enemies. It drains our health too, but we can still recover that by doing damage, so. Alright. Level also has the worst part of the game. If you ever played Castle Crashers, there's a section coming up that reminds me of that game just because there are these vents on angles, and it's so hard for me to tell where is safe and where isn't because it's like slightly angled to the right. But we'll get through there pretty quickly. Go. A lot of playing Max and in this run is just keeping enemies in front of you. Max really doesn't have a lot that he can really chain, so you're reliant on abilities that knock enemies forward or backwards. You can also save yourself if you get hit and knocked up in the air by pressing up and jump right about when you would land on the ground. You'll see me doing that ever so often. If Max all of a sudden seems really nimble and landing on his feet, it's because I did that thing that I should be doing often. There it is. Out of the sewer into the bar bathroom. Gonna start getting into a little more hefty enemies with more armor and more iframes, which is what Max eats for breakfast. Because the enemies that are more durable and stand up for longer after getting hit can really punish. Max is gonna get, multiple hits from his one attack. If you ever speedrun this game, you will eventually get to this section, have a Galcia pick up a taser, and go hit the arcade machine that I destroyed. So there are secret levels in this game that are triggered by taking a taser and attacking an arcade machine. And it's like old Streets of Rage bosses and stuff. But I don't know if it was on purpose or not. But if Galcia with a taser runs into an arcade machine, it triggers the secret level. Which is not what you want during a speedrun. Use the same tried and true method to punish this boss. I'll let chat decide who he looks like. My go-to is Freddie Mercury, but yeah, the bartender is Jax from other Streets of Rage titles. Making good time so far. There's always time to be lost in Chinatown, though. I got the quick spawn on these guys. You kill the first 3 enemies in this level, immediately everything spawns, which I did there. But this Francis is back at the very beginning. Hope everybody's doing well this Friday. Hope you're done with your work week, ready for a lot of speed runs, and raising money for a good cause. A lot of ways to do some of these sections with a lot of enemies. With Max, I usually just throw my face into as many enemies as possible and hope they attack me. One of the trickier things on easy can be the enemy AI, because part of the difficulty factors, part of the things that change when you go from easy to normal, hard, hardest, and then mania is kind of how aggressive the enemies are. They've got an internal clock, basically, that determines how often they can approach you and attack. And it's not good to have enemies run away from you when you're trying to kill them quickly. this Raven, you can spend the rest of the run trying to chase him down. I just saw that there's a pet the dog donation incentive for something. That is definitely what I would recommend people donating towards. Dogs are the best. I normally always stream with my lab right next to me, but I did the polite thing, and he's outside playing right now, so he doesn't interrupt the marathon. It's nice and cool these days, so I like to have the window open when I can, and he enjoys barking at everything and everybody. Pick up some health here just to be on the safe side. More because I want to have a full health bar and not because I'm worried about dying. So for anybody that doesn't know, Galcias are spawned in a cloning lab somewhere. We've yet to find it. There are way too many Galcias. Please have your Galcias spayed or neutered. It doesn't matter what their name actually is, they're all Galcias. Luckily, I want to save this last weapon. The weapons are going to flash red or like silver. So that bottom one is the old one. I want this one. Save this last one so I can use it in the next room. Yeah, is it Galcias, or would it be like Galcii? Or is Galcia like plural and singular at the same time? I don't know. Great unanswered questions. These butcher knives are pretty cool. If I can get one lined up, they pierce through enemies. I don't know if I'll have a good chance to use one. Clan Galcia. Nice. So this room, you're gonna continuously spawn enemies until this pheasant dies. So I'm gonna try to not kill the ravens. Alright. Because the next enemies that spawn have more health, so don't want to do that. Yeah, cloning indeed. And we're going to be seeing a familiar face here, which is actually a playable character as well, but it's the Streets of Rage 3 version of Shiva. There is not a Streets of Rage 4 Shiva. We're going to just pray for really good RNG. Shiva gets up really quickly, so we can't do our normal combo, but we can really punish him if he stays in a line. And then we'll use our special just to... Mostly, I use the special to regen health. Yeah, that's what we want to see. Come on, Shiva. There we go. Skytrain is another level that is I'm gonna take advantage of the fact that I have iframes throughout my entire forward special. Normally you would want to be jumping over that, but you just iframe through the entire thing. A little slow here. Normally you don't want to get a third jump phase, but cops are not being cooperative. You see me sliding quite a bit. Another part of this game is basically you can do so much damage to an enemy and then they're just on the ground. And most characters have an attack that will hit enemies that are on the ground. And that the slide is Max's on the ground attack. It's really not very good compared to a lot of the other characters on the ground abilities, but it works. I'm a little low on health. I'm gonna try to take a strategic death here. Because I want to be, yeah. Oh, that's not gonna kill me. This will. Boss fight's next, and I would prefer to not be at low health, just because I want to have a full bar of special moves. And Estel's back. She's actually kind of easier this time, because she doesn't have her backup rockets. She just has grenades, which the grenades you can pick up, and once you pick them up, they don't hurt you. So if she gets any off, I will probably be picking them up. Mostly just so, like, I'm not going to grab that one. It's not worth it for the damage, but it can be worth it to kind of clear the area. Estel also gets up quickly and has armor for a couple frames when she gets up. So you can really, really bully Estel. Because you'll get the first couple initial ticks of the roll, and then before you knock her away, you get to do a bunch of damage. But these are the most annoying enemies in the game, hands down, because you cannot iframe their fire. I'm gonna try to get this one. Alright, kill me. Thank you. There'll be another one that spawns. Alright. Not too bad. So this golden turkey here is very fancy. It does like a third of the boss's health if you escort the golden turkey all the way to the end. I'm not gonna grab it almost every run. I think the golden turkey is faster. So there's pretty consistent ways to escort it through the level. But with Max, his movement is so much quicker using his forward special, and if you use an ability like that while holding an item, you just drop the item. So not very fast to use the golden turkey. And on easy, we're just gonna like completely bully the boss like we do every other boss. So there is an achievement for escorting the golden turkey as well. Throw some grenades here. You can kind of force these enemies a certain way depending on where your positioning is when they're gonna move. It can be a little bit tricky. You can also catch these vials midair, which is kind of cool. And the fire almost, I don't know if it's technically a one-shot, but it almost always kills everything if they get hit by the fire. Got one more Donovan, and on to the boss. Or bosses. Only real strategy for this boss is we're gonna try to keep the fire chick from dropping any pools, because like all the fire, I can't iframe through the pools. So I'm gonna save my star moves until now. And hopefully we can have her dead before she does it twice. Yeah, they're gonna transition here. They heavily nerfed this fight with the patch, which was a nice change. The fire and poison used to take up basically the entire room. We got a nice juggle there. Alright, that's the art gallery. $28.02 on the in-game time. Usually run about a minute and 20 seconds. Somewhere around there. Off of real time. Once everything is said and done. This level does indeed have ice physics. You can't tell. It is really annoying. It's kind of fun to slide around, but then some of these enemies just start walking backwards and keep walking backwards. I don't need my star moves for this this boss, so I might bust one out here or there if things start getting out of hand. This is actually, everybody's behaving here. Just come attack me. Thank you, Kevin. And then we're gonna get the most OP thing in the game, which is the Swiffer. Many of you might have one of these in your house, just in case. If you ever need to defend yourself, grab the Swiffer. It is that good. For anybody coming in, this is on easy. This game is actually like really difficult. But it's really fun to play with some of these characters on easy. And it's like, it's one of the few games that I like speedrun on an easy difficulty because it's basically a different game. Because you can play characters almost like they're an entirely different character. I think we're going to use that. I'm going to try to break these windows open. The one thing Max really doesn't do well, he doesn't have any good throw moves. I just completely whiffed that. So this section can kind of drag on, because normally you'd be able to grab and throw with most characters. So I said earlier that Max is not in this game, which is not technically true. We're about to fight Max. We're gonna have Streets of Rage 2 versus Streets of Rage 4 Max. And spoiler alert, Streets of Rage 2 Max is superior. Some part of this game has to do with a DJ brainwashing you, or brainwashing Max. That's definitely, I think, the lore. Yeah, Max on Max. But it's red-eyed Max. But if you look at my health, it's going up more than it's going down because I'm doing so much damage that I'm recouping more health than I'm spending. So, yeah. Yeah, there is max violence. That is an acceptable pun for this run. They actually really just buffed Max, and he's kind of a pain on normal now. And you just gotta spin around a little bit. Gotta trigger the rest of these enemies. So now we're going to find the DJ responsible for brainwashing Max, I guess. You just start seeing, we've basically seen every enemy we're gonna see. I think at this point we've seen every enemy type. The big guys with guns, I think, was the last like base enemy model. We need to take out 2 of these biker chicks so the chicks with grenades will come and quit grenading us from the top. Alright. Grab a little turkey here. Take out all of these clones of Dulcia. So on the difficulties that require you to use more of your basic, not life-draining attacks, a lot of the combos are going to take advantage of jabbing a couple times and then kind of letting the enemy reset. Because every enemy's got like a damage threshold that after you do so much they fall down. You can kind of manipulate that. There were infinite combos in this game based on that. Part of what the patch did that came out recently was basically get rid of all of the infinite combos, which I'm kind of okay with. Got one more set of guys to spawn here. But you can kind of do that on your own by using your jab combos and resetting. I accidentally used a star there, but luckily this is like the one level that there's an extra star in. I need to... need to pick up this star before I transition to the boss. More enemies will spawn if you don't kill that robot. There are a lot of like mini bosses like that where the ads are infinite until the boss is dead. Alright, we're gonna try a quick kill here and keep this boss from moving into phase 2. That's the setup. Should be able to slide twice, grab him again. There we go. That's a DJ Kawashi that apparently was brainwashing Streets of Rage 4 Max. For everybody keeping up with the lore. We're getting close to the end. We're about to find the main bosses of the game. So I'm not up on my Streets of Rage 3 lore. I know Mr. X was the boss in Streets of Rage 2. The final boss, I should say. And the end of this game is Mr. and Mrs. Y, which I'm assuming are his children. I think that's what the game was trying to purvey. Unfortunately, the end of this game is kind of my least favorite part of it, especially with some changes. I really feel like the bosses at the beginning and the middle of the game are really unique. They've got some like fun parts to them. And then the end is kind of a letdown, but this is a very good game, so it's easy to forgive, you know, when a couple of things are off the mark. Less rage if they had more shirts. Maybe that's what it is. We're going to try to place some strategic grenades here. It's always what you want to see when you're on a plane. Somebody chunking a grenade. One more strategic grenade. Slide right into this door transition. There's some of these door transitions you've really got to be careful because they are very particular where you are. We're gonna pick up another star here just for a little bit of a safety strat. We're gonna fight Mr. Y first. He can be, especially with the changes, he can just run all over the place. So it's nice to just be able to catch him. We try to put all these girls in the meat grinder. Forward special has kind of a property that no matter where you are when you get hit, you get knocked in the direction of the roll, so you can kind of grinder those enemies. Let's see if we can't use all of these stars well. We're gonna get a transition here. We might be able to grab him right away. I was hoping he wouldn't jump, but that's why we grab the extra star, so we can afford to be a little risky with one. Alright, Mr. Y is being pretty tame. I'll take that. On to the final level. Making a really good time. Actually just grabbed a new PB, de-resting for this. 44.29 in-game, I think. There's also the new PB, old and new patch, which was kind of my goal. De-resting and submitting this game was to grab a new PB on the new patch. I need chicken, please. Alright. I'm gonna strategically break open some bikes here. Another star. Most characters will want to save stars for the final boss. This level's gonna end. We're gonna fight Mrs. Y, or Miss Y, and then we're gonna fight the final boss sequence. But Max is gonna kind of just run all over the last boss sequence, and Miss Y is gonna. He's very hard to pin down. So I'm gonna plan on just using both the stars for this level on Mrs. Y. Mostly because between Max's reach and his kind of slow startup on his jab, the bosses that are really quick, it's harder to get them like stopped in a jab combo. Alright. I think with 7 lives left, we'll be okay. Trying to keep from killing this chandelier. If I can wreck this robot coming up. Take damage on purpose. Well, we missed the robot, but... Couple of Z's. Those enemies you can't throw things at, or they will catch the things you throw. Alright. So this, the next couple of sections are a tad bit ridiculous. These shadows, you cannot throw things at them. They get like a little mini shield if you throw things at them. And they're a real pain. And this section used to have a giant spiked ball, and you could really just kind of swing it back and forth and kill most of these enemies. I really don't understand why they changed this part, but on anything other than easy, like, this is harder than the final boss sequence, I feel like. But nothing we can't deal with. Alright. One more set of enemies. Is this heart? Yeah. Let's grab this turkey. I don't know if we're going to end up with an S ranked run. The rankings are done by total points. And we're like not actually trying to get points in this run. Alright. final boss sequence. Yeah, those guys are tough, and they're hard. They're easier with other characters to get locked in like a jab combo. It's kind of rough with Max. But then again, I mean, with all of Max's iframes, it's not really a big deal. Well, we're gonna have to do this the old-fashioned way. I tried to grab her during her small amount of on-the-ground iframes and wasted both of my star moves. Alright. Well, this is like the worst case scenario. Not actually dead, but not enough health to use my specials. But that's a good attack. It's got a lot of armor, so we can roll through. Alright, on to the final boss. We get to fight both of them again on the grave of Mr. X. Little Easter egg there. Only have to get one of them down to a certain point to transition. That one's usually going to be Mr. Y, if he cooperates. Alright, that's what we want. We want him to sit and laugh at us, because he gets a bunch of armor. Time is going to stop when the second health bar reaches 0. I'm going to knock Mr. Y out of the robot, and then Mrs. Y will jump in. Alright. Kind of just RNG what robot attacks you get. Alright, that is one. And this is why I don't understand how the robot is still attacking, but alright, so time is coming up. And time. You don't even get to hear the good part of the song. And we'll get to see what the in-game time is coming up right after the credits. The moment of truth. 45:27. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. And we got the S rank. And that's Streets of Rage 4 Max. Streets of Rage 2 Max. Easy. Thanks to everybody that stopped by. There's lots of good... I mean, there's like lots of Mario coming up. And everybody loves Mario. So I'm glad I could warm up the crowd. Shoutouts to Strizer and the whole team behind the scenes for putting on this event. And it was nice to be able to come back and do another run for y'all. So that's all I've got.